guys, it's Nurse Jet, Nursing the Truth. I hope everyone's having a great evening. So me and Sunny are going to bring you another great video today. And as my little Jack Russell is running around and rolling on the floor as we speak, and you might hear her barking in the background here in a few minutes, don't mind the dog. Just try to hear some of the great information that I'm bringing you. So let's talk a little bit about Pythagoras. You know, is he Thoth incarnate? Who knows? Or did he learn from the great master of Thoth himself? So as we know, Pythagoras is the magician of numbers, and he lived in the 500s. He was born in the late 400s, and in Greece, in the island of Samos. And when he was young, he was very attracted to the Olympic religion, especially the cult of Apollo. And isn't that quite interesting? You know, Asclepius and Apollo and Apollonius of Tyana, it all ties in. However, neither Homer with his sages nor the rituals of his religion could calm his thirst for knowledge. So he was searching, Pythagoras was, for wisdom. So he went to Asia Minor, and he met Orpheus. And through the initiate rites of Demeter and Dionysus, he saw a new dimension of the knowledge, which led him with great intensity towards that which is divine. Now we're getting into something. So a lot of people here in the past few days have asked me about reincarnation or transmigration of the souls. So let's see what Pythagoras has to say about it. He also continued his search into Babylon, where he learned astronomy. In Persia, he knew the Ahura Mazda's doctrine. In the sun-bathed land of Egypt, he studied with the priest of Sais and Heliopolis, which is the city of the sun, which is south of Cairo. And he assimilated the esoteric and mathematical knowledge, and at the same time, he went deep into geometry. Now, this is where it gets great. Thoth is the god of wisdom, knowledge, and sacred geometry, and he's also the god of the moon. So and he was also understanding about the structure of the divinity. Finally, in India, he studied the doctrine of the transmigration of the souls. He talked about the karma and the immortality of the soul in a coherent way. Man carries inside a part of the primordial and divine energy, which survives the death of the body in the astral world, so that according to the ethical behavior of its previous life, it will return to reincarnate into another body, and it will live another existence, and so forth until the final return to the divine. This thought revolutionized the paganism and had influence upon the primitive Christianity, the Gnosis, the Gnostics, all of the sects, even Nazarenes, Essenes. The psyche, according to Pythagoras, is the intermediary between two worlds, the material and the spiritual. It is the vital energy that nests and inhabits into the matter. He defended the existence of elementals and genies, of intermediate divinities such as the Olympic gods. as well as a superior divinity that is the beginning and end of everything. Okay, this is interesting because the ancient Egyptians knew that there was a creative force. It could not be seen. It did not take shape or form of a human. And the universe, it had karma, and it released, and it had a time and space. So Thoth also talks about this geometry and the universal and natural laws. There is a natural law and there is a universal law. And Thoth says that there is a superior divinity and that we are all sparks of the divine. And the philosophical approach to nature and divinity, to man and cosmos, was always presented from the viewpoint of the mathematics, because Pythagoras thought that everything could be formulated with an equation. Pythagoras said that the numbers are absolute principles in arithmetic, principles applied in music, magnitudes in a state of rest in the geometry, magnitudes in motion in the astronomy, simultaneously serving as measures which determine the nature of things and as exponents that follow us to the know of the things. God geometrizes by means of the sound, Pythagoras said. In the beginning was the Word. The doctrine of the geometrical music has the previous postulate as foundation, and it explains the generation of the interludes and the nodes by means of the relation of harmonic distances that exist between the musical notes and the planets of the solar system. Pythagoras calls it the music of the spheres, and it served as an initiate process in the Pythagorean schools. Finally, the teaching of Pythagoras had a great spread, and still in our days his teaching is considered as fundamental, although many people have not been capable of understanding this Pythagorean philosophy. Well, he learned from different places in the East of the different schools of thought and philosophy on how to live and what the universe does and what is man's part in the cosmos, along with the planets and the divine self. And you know, it doesn't really upset me to know that everyone in the world thought this way at this time. And now, because if people go back to the ancient ways and they start thinking like this, because now we're waking up, because we've been asleep for a long time in the matrix and these archonic forces that doesn't want us to know these things, then, you know, we all have to go back. And we've been tricked. And now we have to know how to get back to the divine, look inside ourselves, know what we are, and tell everyone as much as we can and help them along the way. Karma, as Pythagoras mentions, you know, we have to have a good, clean karmic cycle. And hopefully when we reach the purification process and we get refined, then we can go back to the divine, because the Pistis Sophia, the wisdom, she came down in the Gnostic scriptures and said that she had to basically divide herself or crucify herself for mankind or humanity, and that Yaldabaoth was a blind god and he couldn't see what she did. And so now everyone has a spark. So you can't say that a man can create a child. You can't say that a man can produce a child. Women, they have a special thing inside of them, a uterus, a womb, woman. And so therefore we create and we bring forth the fruit. So you can't have one without the other. So through these patriarchal religions that doesn't want women to speak and they want them to be subservient, and even in Ephesians 5, I believe, it says, wives, submit to your husbands. Oh, now, and husbands, submit to your wives. How thoughtful was that? So, but in another sense, it says that the wives must get the scriptures interpreted by their husbands, and that they must keep their heads covered, and that they must be quiet in church. That no woman can have any type of part in the church. But in the Gnostics tradition and the Nazarenes tradition, which was a Gnostic shoot from Egypt, had women. So there again, the feminine aspect, real or not real, Yeshua, the feminine aspect was there. Because the Gnostics knew that the wisdom, the Pistis Sophia, was at the top. So there again, truth seekers, read into Pythagoras, get into his philosophies. Let's see really how close he was to God Thoth and the wisdom and knowledge. And everything adds up to numbers 369, as Tesla said. When you know 369, then you will know the universe, my friends. Thoth is reincarnated so many times, the great sage that he is and is to come. Hotep and Ashe, and we'll see you later, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.